What I would like 20 years from now, if people look back and say, what kind of a job did she do? I would like them to say, you know, the district attorney's office in this county is fabulous. They care about the victims, they aggressively prosecute the cases, they have very high expectations of their staff, they handle cases appropriately in all instances, they adhere to the ethical guidelines, and it's a fun place to work and people don't like to leave. I think that would be a great legacy. The good news is we have a number of prosecutors in the office who've been in the gang unit previously, so they've got experience prosecuting the cases. So we're not limited to just the 2 people in the gang unit handling gang cases. We have talent and expertise in other prosecutors who can step in and handle some of those cases. What I would like to do very soon is to get the gang unit back up to what I think is an appropriate level of a minimum of 3 prosecutors. I hope to do that by the end of the summer, as a matter of fact. The challenges that we've had are staffing and resource related as far as covering all the units we need to cover. That's attributable a little bit to direct calendaring, and I think you're probably aware of what that system is. For us to cover the 11 courts we need to cover on a daily basis is a big challenge, so we've had to reallocate some resources in order to make sure we cover them. And we had to pull not only from the gang unit but also from our child abuse unit. So both of those units are not fully staffed where they need to be. We are hiring 4 new attorneys. They are due to start at the end of July, and then with the board's authorization of 3 new positions in this budget, that's an additional 3 attorneys. So as soon as I can get those people on board, we're going to get those units back up to where they should be. And we are going to continue to have a gang problem. We need to focus the resources on it, both law enforcement and prosecution resources. One of the things we are going to be implementing very soon, and this is hopefully going to assist in this area, I'm looking at cross-designating one of my prosecutors to be an assistant U.S. attorney. And what that means is we will be able to take cases here that happen here locally and prosecute them in federal court in Fresno, where we can get tougher sentences. So the targets for that obviously will be gang members with guns. Those are the kind of people that we'd really like to lock up for as long as possible. The issue for us will be how many the U.S. Attorney will let us let us transfer into the federal system, because they have to accept them. So we'll propose the cases and then they'll say yes or no, and then we'll go ahead and prosecute them in court. But they're busy as well, and they obviously don't want us necessarily clogging up the federal court system with cases that could be prosecuted locally. There has to be a real benefit to it, and for us that means longer sentences. So we'll analyze, can we get a better sentence in federal court compared to local court? And that'll be the determining factor. What we're looking at trying to do is cases that they could easily be prosecuted here. They happen here, the police officers are here, the witnesses are here. We're going to make the decision, can we get more time, and those are the cases we want to take to federal court. So it's not going to be hundreds of cases. We're going to be very selective about the ones we take.
Do you have somebody in mind for that position?
I do. And we're working on the cross-designation, and we should be getting final word and approval probably within a couple of weeks.
That's very interesting. Last fall, I remember you said you were pursuing legislation so jurors involved in extraordinary cases like Scott Pearson's double murder trial could be counseling after the verdict. What is the status of that effort?
Well, I've been talking to a number of different people, and I've spoken with I believe he's a psychologist up in Oregon, and he's very much willing to help me. He sent me some background information. I've had a meeting with Mike Tazi here in the courts. He's offered to assist, because a process that might be helpful is bringing the courts on board, the administrative office of the courts, to get support for this whole idea, because the judges need to be involved. They would be the ones really making sure it happened and making the orders in appropriate cases. So we haven't actually gone forward in terms of writing any legislation at this point, but we've got people talking about it, which is, I think, the first step.
Do you have any lawmakers who you've talked to who might be interested in sponsoring a bill?
I've mentioned it to a couple of our local guys, even probably 6 months ago, and they were supportive of helping sponsor legislation, this or any other, that I thought would be beneficial to the citizens in this community.
Are there any interest groups who would like to be part of that effort? Maybe Crime Victims United or anybody like that?
I think so. I'm hoping to meet with one of the directors from Crime Victims United next week at a conference. I think they would be interested in assisting. Their interests are obviously focused primarily on crime victims and not so much on jurors, but I think anyone that's sat on a case that's a very difficult, long, emotionally draining case realizes that to some degree jurors kind of can become a victim of the criminal justice system.